My name is Ali Kenyatta. I was born July 13th, 1972, St. Louis, Missouri. My father's name is Ronald Jones. He's an Afrocentric, Nation of Islam Muslim, pro-black. My mother's name is Betty Jones. She was a devoted Christian, Catholic. I'm the youngest of 7 children. As you can imagine, I grew up in a very unique and very religious home. It's like we split the religions down the middle. We had righteous Muslim names. We didn't eat pork. We didn't go to church every Sunday. Well, maybe sometimes on Easter. But my father, he was never going. So ain't no sense to asking him. We still believed in God, even though I never quite understood the whole, you never gonna see him. God created everything. He could always see you. We believed in Jesus. I was told he was black, but at my mom's very scary Catholic church, the pictures was always white, so I was always confused about the color thing. We prayed like Christians. Even at a young age, 5 or 6, I never could understand who he was talking to. Never said grace before we ate, but we all went to private Catholic schools, St. Nicholas, downtown next to the projects, Carr Village. By the time I was 7 years old, we had moved 3 times, from Carr Village to Lake in the Woods Apartments. I think it's called Colonial Village now. It's out there by Countryside, out there in Spanish Lake. This was a major culture shock. From downtown to out there on Highway 367 in 1977, 78, it was like moving from Harlem to a penthouse with Mr. Drummond. I remember out there was the first time I was slapped in the face with the religious do's and don'ts. While I was in the 1st grade, something shocked me. So in class, I yelled out, "Jesus!" And my teacher, this white woman, she took me in the hallway and chastised me to no end. That was a day I'll never forget. A year or so later, we moved to the north side of St. Louis, off of Hall's Ferry Circle, the 8800 block of Northcrest. There is where I learned how to play basketball, football, basically all sports. This is where I learned how to DJ, fight. That's something I got pretty good at, even was like a childhood bully. That basement was where I learned how to cut hair, and most importantly, I learned how to rap. We moved there in 1980. By 1982, the DSEG program. You know, the program that took kids from the city and sent them into better schools out in the county. This is where I really got a relationship with whites, other than the ones I had already knew from playing Little League. In 1982, I was 10 years old, in the 5th grade. I'm traveling an hour a day to school, Valley Park, where it was 99% white and 1% other. As we pulled up on the first day of school, it was people outside protesting. They ain't want us there. It was hard at first, but it got better. A lot of the people there, I'm still cool with to this day. But most of all, I remember the first day of school and that racism. I was called coon, nigger, spade, and one that made me mad the most, porch monkey. Even though I had at least 30 fist fights, it never made me hate whites. My parents always said, some people good, some are bad. Hate is just people that's afraid of you and don't understand you. I got past all that racist stuff, and the school and my friends, they wasn't that bad. But what I learned was that we was also different through religion. They was Presbyterians and Lutherans and some other shit I had never heard before. But they still believed Jesus was Lord and Jesus was God and God is Jesus' son, or Jesus was God's father, or vice versa. I don't know exactly, but Jesus and God was out there too. Fast forward, 3 years later, I'm 13 years old. I done shot up to about 6'3", 6'4", and now, as you can guess, basketball is a big part of my life. 8th grade, I'm playing for this Globetrotter type team, called the St. Louis Zips. We traveled. Everywhere we went, Jesus and God was there. And none of my teammates could explain the difference between them either. 9th grade, 10th grade, I'm playing varsity. We did the same thing. We prayed before games. We even played this school called Priory or Yeshiva. I think it was like a Jewish school. They didn't even believe in Jesus. I mean, once before in a game, one of their players broke his leg. They didn't even take him to the hospital. They just prayed over him. I don't know if it worked, because he still was screaming and hollering. After my sophomore year, I transferred from public high school, Valley Park, back to private Catholic school, Ritter College Prep. And this is where my search and my journey began. By this time, I was in the 11th grade, 16, 17 years old, and I had a whole lot of questions. Some of the kids from Ritter, I remember them from St. Nick's when I was little. And they were very mature, acting, and focused. Even my teammates from Summer League that was clowns on the court, when we got to school, they was all business and religiously dedicated. I didn't really even go to church. I didn't have no relationship with God or Jesus. Hell, I still didn't know the difference between the two of them. My last class of the day, 7th hour, was religion. So this is the place, at 16 or 17 years old, I felt like I was finally going to get an understanding of religion, or at least be able to tell the difference between God and Jesus. See, I would always ask questions. Some of them I got straight answers to, and sometimes I kind of got spent in a circle. One day, we were talking about Adam and Eve, and I said, if it's just Adam and Eve, and then Cain and Abel, where did everybody else come from? And our teacher, his name was Father, I think Gator, I don't know. But he was confused, and he had a hard time explaining. We just moved on to another subject. That's when I learned through some of my classmates that you're not supposed to ask questions or question God, just believe. Man, I was shocked and super confused by now. A year or so later, I graduated and went down to the A, Atlanta. That's where I went to college at Morris Brown. You know, the same school that the movie Drumline was about. While in Atlanta, religion came up a lot in the dorm rooms. A lot of people knew something, and a lot of people stayed quiet. I was always still confused. I used to ride on the subway, the MARTA train. It was this religious group called Dr. York or the Elohim or something like that. They used to talk about people being from outer space. That was kind of weird, but I used to read it. It was entertaining. At least they didn't seem like they was trying to hide anything.